Okay, welcome back. We are here with Zach from Callaway again. Welcome, mate.
Zach.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, pleasure. Well, it's pretty exciting. I don't want to ruin it before it starts. So, Callaway's 2024 product. What have we got coming?
Yeah, so we have a brand new Apex Pro series that's coming, and we're very excited about it. You know, a lot of people kind of expecting Apex this year. We had Paradigm, and we did something a little different here. We're launching it, and we're really focusing on the better player. We've spent the last 3 years with working with our tour staff closer than we ever have before to design the most advanced tour irons that Callaway's ever produced. And so we're really excited for everyone to get to see these new products and try them out.
So, I think you touched on it. I think you picked up on the terminology there. So, it's the Pro series. It's tour irons. So, you're not replacing DCB. You're not replacing Apex. You're just doing this. This is like a pro area. You're really focused on like a tour style club.
Correct. We it's been a little bit of time since we've had kind of the full better player assortment launch under one brand, right? We've had X Forged that was out there for a little bit.
Right.
We had the TCB that launched as sort of a limited tour type of offering. And really what we wanted to do was how do we bring that all under one umbrella and really have Apex be our flagship brand on tour and focus on the better player. A lot of people don't know when we're putting in work into whether it's Apex or DCB and Pro, when we've launched those together, I mean, it's a ton of work that goes into all those products. And we wanted to be able to focus on the better player and really just like put the full weight of the Callaway R&D machine on the tour player, on the better player. It's not that we haven't done that in the past, but really just being able to focus and bring these under one brand. That was the goal here.
Well, there's a whole line of clubs, not just one club coming out too. Right?
Yeah.
And again,
Well,
like we've seen with some other brands too. I mean, these are perfect to mix and match, and I'm sure a lot of the tour players are doing that as well.
yeah, it's a full family of better player products, right? So we're going to
Right.
have a new Apex Pro, a new Apex CB, a new Apex MB. There'll be a utility iron, and then also a new Apex utility wood. So all products that are kind of geared towards a better player, towards the tour player, and certainly we're going to see those.
Well, what I'm loving about this already, and this is no detriment to Callaway, but there's been so many names. We've got Rogue, we've got Paradigm, we've got
Right,
Apex,
right.
everyone, it's like what fits where, and I think this kind of really tidies it up for players. You're going to have the pro area of the Apex, you're going to have Apex, and then you're going to have DCB, then you're going to move into the Paradigm, and it really kind of just cleans up the definition of which products are for who. So I think
Right,
that's a good
right.
start.
Yeah. And these are cool looking too.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all flat finish, so they look clean. I could definitely see you guys mixing, the blades with the cavity back with even the hollow ones and long irons. Are the specs relatively similar as far as lofts and stuff, or are they spread out pretty well?
Yeah, that's a great call out. They are designed to be comboed together. That was one of the
Right.
from day one when we set out to make these. It was, hey, we know that combo sets are a big thing among better players, among tour players, and having the benefits of different types of clubs and different points in the bag. And so when we started out, like I said, from day one, the goal was to make these so that they can blend seamlessly together. So your offsets, your shaping, your hosel transitions, all of that is going to be, really, like I said, it's going to be meant to blend together. And so in the specs as well. So lofts are going to be very, very similar. The CB and the MB actually have the same lofts across the board. And then the Pro is 1 degree stronger.
It's got a
But
little lower
they
CG
are
too,
all,
right? So probably.
yeah, that's the hollow body. So that one does have, especially in the long irons, we got tungsten out there to really move our
Right.
CGs where we want them. But yeah, they are still all made to be blended. They also all have the same. You guys can see there on the product. They have the same back weight, that MIM weight,
Right.
and that's the same across the entire family. So one, they look like they were kind of made together. They blend together just from a industrial design perspective. But it also you can get fit, and when we're building these out, you can have you can go up or down essentially one swing weight point. So when you guys are building sets,
Right.
when fitters, people they can control the swing weight a little bit easier.
Is these something we've been able to get, these back weights, so we can adjust all those things? And if so, do you have any idea what kind of range they come in?
Yeah, so it's going to be 12 grams is the nominal. So that's the
Right.
one that is the same among all, and then it'll be up 5 grams, so
Okay.
17, and then down 5 to 7.
That's enough.
Yeah,
That
that's
works.
it.
Yeah.
That's
It's a full club, basically.
yeah, exactly right.
Exactly.
It's a
So
full club.
you make them a half-inch over, no problem, or half-inch under, or whatever you want to do.
That's it. That's it. Well, I mean, we've got the guy here. This Zach is, maybe I didn't give enough background. Hopefully, you've known him from our previous podcast, but you play a big part in the design and engineering of these products, right?
Yeah, so I'm the senior product marketing manager. We are working with all the teams that are bringing this together from an R&D standpoint, from the way they look, the industrial design, we're really proud of this family. I know that there's been a lot of we hear it. Hey, where's Apex? When's that coming? And so the wait is finally over, and we're very proud to unveil these new ones.
So I'd really like to use your knowledge. Our guys are geeks. We're geeks. We want to know the ins and outs of these things. So maybe start with the blade, and let's just work all the way up to the UW if you can.
Yeah. So we'll kind of go through the technology. A lot of it is pretty shared, I'd say, across. There are slight nuances, and we can kind of go into those. But essentially, what we've seen when we talk to tour pros, we talk to better players. Elite amateurs, that there's like 3 things that a better player really is looking for in an iron set. And so when we talk about those 3 performance characteristics, it's distance control, turf interaction, and then feel. And so all of the things that we've done to these irons really is trying to excel in those 3 areas. So if we look at the blade, that's obviously kind of it's a classic design in the sense that it is a classic muscle back. But it's a new shape. It's a modern tour shape. You're going to see a little bit longer blade length in the previous version. You're going to see the toe peak height is a little bit more pointed, definitely taking some of the trends that we've seen on tour among our tour players, among elite amateurs that are coming up. Hey, what are they looking for in this type of product? So you're going to see a new shape there. 1025 forged construction. So it's going to feel great, and obviously it's going to have good turf interaction as the sole feature on there. You'll see across all the models has this dynamic sole design where you have a pre-worn leading edge that's going to get you into the turf more efficiently, and then a trailing edge chamfer that's going to get you out with the least amount of friction as we can sort of make, and then also that has a variable bounce design. So across the sole, the bounce is going to change based on how we want that club to interact with the turf at different points, contact points.
The 2 points that really stood out for me we have been through a little education on this already, but the heel to toe. I mean, you can educate me a little bit more, but I'm assuming that's to try and drag CG a little bit further away from the heel in that blade, make it a little more centered in the iron.
Are you talking about the blade length?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's a good point, because as I was kind of talking about the shaping among all the irons, and obviously we're looking at the tour players, but looking at the kind of the next generation of better players, right? The elite college player, right. These golfers, it's a little bit of a different game, and you even see it on tour too. A lot of guys are playing cuts. They don't actually hit. I mean, some guys still play a draw, but the trend is a lot of guys are starting to play fades, and then to get that center of gravity a little bit closer to the center of the face as opposed to heel bias is what you see on a lot of better player product. It's just easier to hit the fade that way, and so that's definitely a trend that you'll see not only in the MB but also in the CB as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense to me. I think
absolutely.
Maybe a byproduct of speed. People are just hitting it a million miles an hour.
True.
It's easier to get a cut to sit down and talk to you.
Not worried about distance anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one is the pre-worn leading edge. Now, I'm going to hopefully do some overlays that show this. It may not come out on the camera well, but it was so apparent to me when I got it in my hand. I'm looking at the sole square on, and it just, looks like a regular bladed sole. There's not much going on. And then all of a sudden you just tilt it as though the face is going to be a little more airborne, and you just see this huge camber across the leading edge, which is obviously that's what you're talking about in the turf interaction. That really protects against that dig in the ground.
Yeah, you got a relatively thin sole here too, but it does have some camber on it, obviously, so you got some variability there. But yeah, if you didn't have got a super sharp leading edge on this, it would definitely dig. So that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MB is actually kind of unique in this regard too, because the Pro and the CB and the UT even, they all have that pre-worn leading edge, but the MB has kind of a dual leading edge where it has the pre-worn that's kind of on the sole side, and then as you said, Jack, it's almost like on the face side. There's a lot of amber there, and that is, from the work we've done with our tour staff, the guys that are playing the MB. That's feedback that we got, and one of the prototypes that we tested. We had several iterations here spanning over 3 years on the MB just to get that sole feature right. So really unique, and like you said, it is pretty apparent when you see it.
Yeah. Well,
I think they're a little bit wider as you go through the soles, obviously, too. They get a little bit wider, and obviously there's more camber off the back and more camber as they get wider as well. So kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're comboing. So what was your 7-iron lofts in MBCB?
So the MBCB, I got them right here. I'll pull them up. 33, I believe, is our 34 on the MBCB, 33 on the Pro.
Okay, so you're only just taking that 1 degree off through the set there. It's just going to jump a little quicker. And so just go a bit more into the technology of the CB. It has got a little more tech in it, even though, it's blendable. It's got some tungsten, right?
Yeah, so the goal here was to create a iron that has the feel that you'd expect from a one-piece, single-piece forge, kind of that traditional forging, but play like a multi-piece iron. And so what we did was the body, the face, the top line, the hosel, that is all forged as one piece. And then what we've done is we've taken a MIM tungsten weight, we put it in the toe side. There's actually a pocket that is on the heel side, so we can move that CG more center. And in addition, we can also move that weight up and down, so we can control the progressive. It's essentially a progressive CG up and down as well. So it's not only lateral but also vertical to get the CG exactly where we want it. And so you're going to have a really good performing feel, but also really easy to control irons up and down the set.
So you're dragging CG lower within the CB range, for instance, lower in the 4-iron, higher in the wedges to try and pick up ball flight and long and penetrating in the short.
Yeah, exactly.
Then obviously the forge one, the one you got that's hollow, you got a lot more room to move things around. So that's probably a little more extreme in the long irons, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's going to be it's a hollow body in the Pro, so that's a little bit of a different construction where we have forged 455 face cup. We'll have the urethane microspheres in there. And tungsten, and really the goal here on the Pro. So if we look at CB being ultimately all about control, up and down, progressive nature there, the Pro is really about having a little bit of extra juice in the long irons, but we didn't want to make this a hollow body distance iron, and that's the key for the Apex Pro iron. And I think where we've seen when we look at some of the feedback we got on the previous model was that it's still a little bit jumpier in those mid and long irons. And so we really set out to make sure that this was going to be precise throughout the set. So you're still going to have a little bit of extra power with the face cup and the long irons. But as we get to the short irons, it's going to be really all about precision. And what we're actually even seeing is that even tour pros are looking at the long iron, and we're pretty confident we're going to see some 3 irons and 4 irons in this Pro model. So it's not just going to be it's going to be an actual tour played, which is something we're excited about.
Yeah. You just touched on another point, and I want to give a shout out to Eric. He's our superstar rep here in Scottsdale. People are going to look at CB and then TCB and why am I swapping? What's the deal? And Eric made some big call outs that maybe you can highlight again for us. Like they are not just a rebranded club. There's some new tech.
No, they're very different in the sense that the shaping is going to be the thing that you notice the most. So the blade lengths are going to be a little bit longer, and again that comes through the trend that we're seeing among the tour players and the elite amateurs. So blade lengths are going to be a little bit longer. Your top line is going to be a little bit thinner. Your offsets are going to be a little bit different, and so that's really it is a very different club in that regard. It's not just a rebranded TCB. The other thing about TCB is that TCB had a faceplate on it, and so this is single piece forged in the sense that the face, the body, and the hosel all together. So it'll feel. That's the number one comment we get from the tour staff on this. The first comment I should say is how great these feel compared to TCB.
I'm assuming you're throwing these in the bag all over the place. They're a marked difference in terms of from my visual and what we did with that day when we did our education on it. Like, they truly look like a real players club now, and it's I'm assuming that's really hitting home with the pros.
You got some guys on tour already playing these now?
Yeah, Siwoo Kim put it in the bag the first week. I believe it was the Travelers is when we had people out there fitting. So yeah, he put them in the first week. A lot of guys got fit into them, and then they'll take them home. It's kind of a weird time for them to split mid-season.
They don't want to change before the playoffs, right?
Yeah, before the playoffs. This is before the Open Championship, so some big tournaments that they wouldn't necessarily look at. But yeah, a lot of those guys have got their sets. They're getting dialed. One of the Hogard twins actually won on the European tour, I believe, with the MB prototype out there. So it's already got the family's already got a win under its bag, or
nice.
In the bag there. So we're excited about it from a tour perspective.
It seems like the story of the year for Callaway. You come out firing strong with the Paradigm driver, just winning all over the place, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these winning too. And I think that is the real key bones of the player stuff. And then there's these two kind of outliers, which I don't want to overshadow with that. But they're a slightly different kind of look at this new line, right? We've got the UT. Go for that one.
Yeah, so the UT,
cool.
obviously, it's kind of your driving iron, right? You saw a lot of them at the Open Championship, players putting those in the bag. For someone who's looking for either a little bit more forgiving long iron, 3-iron type of product, or a driving iron that you're going to use off the tee, definitely going to launch lower than you would see with a hybrid or a UW. It's actually funny. I was at the range yesterday testing and just seeing the flight difference between a utility wood that's kind of, they were the same loft or 1 degree off. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they launch very different. And so for different player types, they're going to do different things. The thing with this new UT that's interesting is we've actually changed the profile a little bit. So even better players, the tour players who launch the ball, higher than most of us, they were even saying, hey, can we make this thing a little easier to launch? Just, I still want it to have that penetrating trajectory, but, kind of get it up in the air a little easier. So you'll see the profile is actually a little bit shallower,
right.
and that's get the CG down and just make it a smidgen easier to launch.
Those things were so hot off the face in the last iteration. I haven't hit this thing yet, but I know that it's going to be just, they go mild.
What's nice about this one, though, is, it looks like part of the set again, right? You stick these in the bag and you stick them side by side, and it all kind of blends. You could almost have 4 different iron sets in your set if you really wanted to.
You
and you probably wouldn't even notice them in the bag. Now, the UTs are longer as well?
Yeah, I think the spec is a little bit different depending on whether you're looking at steel or graphite, because that one will come in both. But
the graphite's definitely going to be longer. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, definitely made to blend with the set and be easy to combo. Throw in a 3-iron. You could throw in a 4-iron if you want. That goes up to, I think it's 23 degrees. So.
So you do a 17, 20, and 23. Is that right?
18, 20, 23.
Okay.
And then in the other sets, do you go to 3s or 4-irons?
3s across the board.
Okay.
Okay. You actually make a 3 on all of them. Okay.
Yep.
I guess those guys can still hit them.
Oh.
And you touched on the utility wood, because that's another really cool product that is pretty unique in the sense that it's for better players. It's kind of we've seen this trend of better players kind of moving away from utility irons in some cases, and they don't really play a lot of hybrids. Better players tend to like more of a neutral ball flight, and hybrids tend to have they have a tendency to go a little left. And so what we've seen is the high lofted fairway wood really become a thing on tour. 5 woods, 7 woods, even 9 woods in some cases. And so what this utility wood product is basically taking the best features of a high lofted fairway wood, the best features of hybrids from a shaping perspective, and combining them into this utility sort of specialty high lofted fairway wood. And you'll see the lengths are in between, so it's not quite as long as a fairway wood, but it's longer than your typical hybrid. The shaping is going to be kind of a blend of the two, and really the key thing is that it's going to have a neutral flight. So it's going to launch high. It's not going to want to turn left on you. It's going to launch high, land soft in the greens. Rom's put this in play. Xander's put it in play. Burns has put it in play. So it's kind of your better player hybrid sort of.
And what lofts does that come in?
So that's going to come in 17, 19, and 21.
Okay.
Like
So it's almost like a forward, forward, 5 wood, 7 wood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Correct.
I want to just call out a few things on this. It's notably, than a regular hybrid. It's wider from heel to toe and longer from front to back. So I'm assuming that's how you're creating that flight stability, just with a head shape.
Yeah, the head shape and obviously having the center of gravity, the MOI, we can do some things there. You'll see there's an actual weight on the bottom that's moved forward. That's also part of that as well.
And the other thing, which is somewhat of a nightmare for us, but a bit fun, is the fact that most hybrids or things with this shape, they have an insertion, a width, a hosel width of 0.370. And that creates iron shafts and hybrid shafts. This does not have that. This is a wood shaft. This is the same products that you'd be snapping into a driver and a fairway wood is what you're putting into this product.
Correct.
And is that more of a design feature to get weight away from the hosel and slim that down, or is it something like, okay, we want this to perform more like a fairway wood, so we want to put fairway wood shafts in it?
Yeah, it's true. It's a good question, and a lot of that does come from the tour feedback and them building stuff on the tour truck and working with the tour pros. And yeah, to your point, getting it to perform like a fairway wood, that is all feedback from tour and the team out there.
Yeah, well, it looks great. We got a couple of guys here that play the older version, and they just love them. It's like one of those. If you go to it, you're not going away from it kind of thing.
Right. And then a couple of guys I know, they're good players too. They just don't hit fairway woods all that well.
Yeah.
Like Gavin, for instance. I mean, he's a real good player. Yeah. But can't stand fairway woods. Loves those things. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. They really do.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Well, we're excited. I mean, best looking Callaway product I've seen in a 9. I've got TCBs, and I think these notably look better to me. I love the satin finish. I love the offset. Not sure I'm good enough for MB, but I'm certainly would play around with all the others for sure. It's really, really good job, guys. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. We are very excited about it, and we're excited for you guys to get these in the bays and put them to the test.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate that, and we know this isn't the last chat. I know there's some other products that we've got to talk about before the year's out, so we're looking forward to getting into the weeds on those too.
Awesome. Well, anytime, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Zach.
Cheers.